I was going to do a talk today, but I had I had an off day. So if you don't know, I had got concussion a couple of weeks back, and then I got over the concussion. Sorry. Anyway, yes, I had concussion a few weeks ago, and it looks like I might have some longer concussion effects, which can happen for some people. And sometimes I have good days and I'm really good, and then I overdo it, and then some days I don't have such good days, so I have to pull back, and today wasn't such a good day. Yesterday was a really good day, and I thought I was going to be able to do a bit of a talk today, but it's not so good. And I'm just going to cancel, I think, all one-to-one sessions for the time being, because the most important thing when you have this is just to rest. And then maybe I do some talks sometimes. I see how it goes. I don't know. But yeah. But I don't want to talk too much about the concussion. It's just one of those things. But what's so undeniably here in all of it, even when my head is spinning and I feel very concussed, if you've had proper concussion before, you know what I mean, is that what's here is what is. Like what's here is what you already are, no matter what, even when your head is spinning and you don't feel good. And that's the most important thing, is knowing what you are. Like we've got all the conditions of the human, the psychology of the human, and that's fair enough, the psychology of the human. That's one element of it, just like Khaleesi has psychology of being a dog, and the birds. I don't know if the birds have psychology. I don't know if they're complex enough, but they certainly have conditioning. So if they're traumatized by something, then they'll have particular responses to that. And we have all this conditioning, but that isn't what the freedom is. We have pain and pleasure, but that isn't what the freedom is. There's something here that's so free, that's like screaming in everybody's face, and it's not about becoming. It's not about you becoming something. It's here, it's alive, it's free. It's beautiful. There's nothing quite like it. So no matter what's happening, even if the world is spinning, if the world is, when I say spinning, I mean from the vertigo, or the world is still from the concussion, just in case you're just coming into the talk now. You're like, what is she on about? Or you're laying in bed, or you're at the doctor's, or people are telling you how ill you are, and you shouldn't do this, and you shouldn't do that. Like in the end, what is what you are. And that's everything's birthright. And there's nobody that's going to be taken out of that. There's nobody that can be taken out of that. It's what you are. Who would be taken out of that? Like the one that you think you are is conditions. It's ideas and conditions arising. It's memories, it's thoughts, it's feelings that arise now, and then that person says, me, 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 me. And it has personal awareness as well. It's like, I can move this body, I can do these things, I am alive. Whereas actually that is a happening, that's a magnificent phenomena appearing, but it isn't actually reality. It isn't actually who you are. It's not an experiencer, it's an experience that's coming and going. Who you are is beyond that. Who you are is this awakeness, which is undefinable and unknowable. It is. And the person knows things and doesn't know things. So it can know about awakening or not know about awakening, but none of that matters. Like, it's appearing in a space in which you already are. Just so free and vibrant. It's all you've ever wanted. It's the loudest thing in the room. And yet it's got nothing to do with you. It isn't you. It isn't yours. And everything in life knows this. Everything knows this instantaneous presence, this alive, radical presence. It's all screaming it. The trees are screaming it, the birds are screaming it, the floor is screaming it, the walls are screaming it, the dogs, the plants, the board games. I can't get my fingers over. Which way does it go? That's so complex, because when you're being filmed, it's filmed backwards. There. The board games, the cloth, the clothes, the hair, everything knows it. This radical freedom of what is. There's just now, right now. And the mind goes off in stories, and there's nothing wrong with the story maker, but stories aren't reality, and they're never going to be freedom. Ever. You're never going to find freedom in a story. Ever. You only ever find freedom in what you are, which isn't yours to find. Because who is this you? Who is this you? And there's nothing in this life which will give you that. The mind is always believing in the next thing. If I do this, if I do that, if I'm healthy, if I'm not healthy, or I don't know why someone will want to be not healthy, but some people do, because then they get attention. Or yeah, there's other reasons for it. I didn't mean to dismiss that psychological condition. Or whatever the belief is getting the car, getting the house, getting the kids, getting the money, like not having these stresses. None of it is it. None of it can take away your freedom or can give you freedom. That is the illusion that the person's constantly stuck in. And the problem is, like, I will give it, like, I can't help but feel like we're not living in a society designed for waking up. Like, Because when you have this realization, I feel like certain functioning goes, but that also could be because I had something called dyslexia and all these learning difficulties as a kid. And so it could be that I like reverted more back to that, and I was like, I can't do all these things that society expects. But I feel like you become more innocent and childlike, and like all these rules and regulations that we have on ourselves is to keep the bad people out, is to keep the bad things out. But when you begin to wake up, then it's like those things I feel like wouldn't need to be in play. Like we're suppressing it ourselves so much in our current society. I feel like I always have the perspective that everything we go through is about waking up and clearing that energy and becoming more and more free. And I can't help but feel like my concussion, like it, like even if it kills me, whatever happened, like I don't think it will, but even if it does, like on the human level, I always feel like it's anything that's happening is moving us further and further to that freedom.